All right, here we are for part four, the last part of the ranking of cartoon villains. We'll go from S to the end, and then I've got to move them around to rank them. I don't think we've got a ton left to actually put in the tier, fortunately. So we'll have some time to try to move them around where we can. First, we've got Sabretooth. So Sabretooth was in X-Men. Sabretooth was a fun villain. He is not my favorite. I watched the show again not all that long ago, and he's not like as fun to me as a Juggernaut. But he is awesome. So I have to figure out where exactly I want to put him in the awesome category. Um, I think I like him around there. We'll see. I got to think through that one a little bit. Um, all right. This is Samhain from Real Ghostbusters, who is the like predecessor to Halloween or something. I can't remember. He's a creepy villain though, much like we had Boogeyman before. Samhain was probably the villain I most associate with Real Ghostbusters. Those two certainly, but he's the like one that I remember being pretty weirded out by. So I'll have him in the awesome category. Um, let's just call him around Solomon Grundy right there. Sauron. Sauron is in X Men. Sauron is not my favorite. He's like barely not awesome though. I'd have him maybe around Rhino and put Rhino a little bit ahead of him. He's in the Savage Land. He would use his eyes and like hypnotize people, but the character had a little bit of a sympathetic story. He couldn't like change away from it or was trying to and all that. So he's a cool character. All right, Vandal Savage. Savage was, I think, Justice League Unlimited, but could be more than that. Uh, Lives like eternally. They did a really cool job of showing him living throughout the ages and like his different time frames and having to continue to conquer and be alive and all that. So I will have him. I'll probably have him just above like Omni Man as a villain. He was a good, solid villain. Okay, this is not Darth Maul again. This is Savage Opress, I think was his name, who is Darth Maul's brother. He's the one who found him and saved him. He was a cool character, but he's just cool enough to me. I mean, it's he served his plot purpose. I cannot remember how he died or whatever. But he's in Clone Wars, um, or maybe Rebels. I think it was Rebels that all that happened. So Savage was fun enough. I'd have him maybe. I like them more than some of these characters. I'll have him above Orm, just below Electro. All right, Saw Boss. Saw Boss is from Jason the Wheeled Warriors, and my brother used to call me Saw Boss for some reason. He liked the show. But Saw Boss was an awesome boss. The show I didn't see a ton of, but he was a really cool villain. Obviously, looks pretty creepy. I'd have him not as high as some of these others that I've seen, but he's probably around Hordak, so I'm going to put him just below Hordak. Okay, Scaramouche. Scaramouche is in Samurai Jack, and he is a tough one to grade because he's annoying as heck. He's got like a voice styling that's I don't even know how to explain it. You've heard it. You'd have to go watch it. But he's like says "babe" after everything, and he uses a magic flute and does a bunch of stuff. But he's also the one who instigates the end of Samurai Jack, the show, where he causes the final confrontation. So he does have a plot purpose and drives the show. I'll have him as cool enough. He does get on my nerves a bit. I'd probably have him a little below Mad Jack. Keep him there for a minute. All right, we have Ventriloquist and Scarface from Batman. Does it make a whole lot of sense? No, but the way that they use the characters, and I can't remember, is his name Wesker maybe is the main guy, and then Scarface is the kid or the puppet. Um, they were fun. Like I actually enjoyed them more than I would have thought. So they're not trash to me, and I think they're actually cool enough. I enjoyed that they were in the show. It was a little bit different. And let's say, I mean, they were more interesting than some of these characters to me. So let's put kind of above Madam Viper because you didn't know like what why this was happening. Was the guy really crazy or not? And they did a good job of showing that. All right. Oh, whew. We're in the okay. So the next one is Scorpia, I think. A She-Ra character, another She-Ra character I just did not really care for. And I'm sorry, they're kind of trash toward the bottom, but I did like her more than the other two, Entrappa and Catra. The voices were annoying to me. Didn't really care for the characters too much. She-Ra was great. I liked She-Ra, and I liked Hordak, but I didn't care too much for these villains. Scorpion. Scorpion was in Spider-Man. Scorpion was actually pretty well done. I'll have him in the barely not awesome category, and I enjoyed him maybe a little bit more than even the Lizard. I liked his tail. I liked his powers. He was pretty recurring villain, I think. I remember seeing him multiple times. Okay, this is Sedusa. Now, I don't remember Sedusa too much from Powerpuff Girls, so she wouldn't be like one of my favorites compared to some of the others that I have called out. I would have her down with this group, but I would have her one layer below, maybe around Roulette. I just don't remember caring about episodes she was in. All right, Sentinels. So we had Master Mold. Sentinels are different. Sentinels are a group, kind of like the Foot Soldiers, but Sentinels are a little iconic and super important to the show. So I'd actually have them above Master Mold and above Nimrod, and just let's put them right there. Sometimes they were like easy to destroy. Sometimes they were really hard to destroy. It was a little inconsistent, but they were fun characters and intimidating, especially at the beginning of the show. Serpentor. Serpentor from G.I. Joe was I think Cobra Commander created him by collecting like DNA samples from Genghis Khan and Napoleon. I'm making up the names, but it's like those types of characters, Alexander the Great, right? So he was supposed to be this amalgamation of the greatest warriors of all time, and he became their Cobra's leader, Serpentor. He was fun and he was cool. Like I'm not going to put him in the elite category. I think there are better GI Joe villains. He was a little cheesy to me, but it was fine. So I will have him. Let's put him like right around Dr. Mindbender. They actually worked together a bit. I'd probably put him a little above, but below Major Blood. So barely not awesome. I mean, fun character. He's a snake. I mean, it's cool looking. It's just he wasn't the best. All right, Sewer Czar. Sewer Czar is from The Tick. Now, Sewer Czar himself, I don't think is very compelling. I honestly didn't care too much about him. And I will put him in the don't really care about category. And he's maybe down by Hydro-Man. But it was a great episode because there is a hero named Sewer Urchin who's like always useless in the show, can't do anything. And then this one villain who is in the sewer finally comes up or influences the Tick, and Sewer Urchin is like in his zone, and he's like super effective working in the sewer. So it was cool episode. All right, Shade. Shade is in Justice League, and he is a pretty cool looking character, fun character. I'll have him as barely not awesome because I did like his style and what he was able to do. He like phases in and out of things and like shows up. It's pretty neat. Then we have Shadow Weaver. So Shadow Weaver is a little like Hagar, I think, from Voltron, but Shadow Weaver is more for Hordak. And maybe Skeletor has worked with him. I don't know, but anyway, I like Shadow Weaver, and I'm gonna have Shadow Weaver just right around here. That was one of the. It has the cool voice. It's the little magical sidekick kind of deal. So Shadow Weaver was fun. Shadow King. Shadow King is an X-Men. Fights on the astral plane with Professor X. There's always kind of a weird story that has to go with Shadow King. He's cool enough. They're not my favorite episodes. He looks very monstrous here, but sometimes he looks like he's from Morocco, or sometimes he's or Egypt. I can't remember where he's from. One of those countries. But yeah, he's just an okay character to me. I probably have him around Felix Faust here. And then Shadow Thief. Shadow Thief is kind of cool. He was on a Justice League episode I do remember pretty clearly. They went to like some pyramid, and he was in there, and you could see the shadows moving and stuff. It was well done. He's cool enough. I don't think he had a whole lot to his character, so I would put him maybe down by Ink here, but Ink was a little bit more intriguing to me. Okay, Sebastian Shaw, I think, is next. Let's see. Sebastian Shaw. So Sebastian Shaw is the leader of the Hellfire Club. He's the one who's pushing on Dark Phoenix being a part of it. Strangely, though, I don't really associate him too much in the cartoon as being like super important. Mastermind comes more to mind. So Jason Wingard and then Emma Frost were the two, and then Shaw's there, but I didn't really associate him too much. That said, he's barely not awesome. He's a cool character. I enjoyed him being in the show, and so I'm just going to put him there. He might get moved around, but we'll see where he's at. All right, this is Shinobi, one of the cooler Samurai Jack episodes, I think. Again, where he is a shadow, he is summoned by a coup, he like thrives in the night, and they get to this tower, and the whole fight is Jack wearing like his white stuff, clothes all around him, and then Shinobi, and the sun is setting, and so it's like this light and shadow is changing. You can see each one here and there, but he's a very effective fighter and stealth fighter, and he was fun to watch. I wouldn't have minded if he was back in the show at some point, and I would say he's kind of an awesome character to me. Maybe around this like Demongo, I think was his name. So kind of like that. All right, Shocker. Shocker is Spider-Man. He's a little bit more of the cannon fodder type of villain, where he gets his butt kicked quite a bit, but he does have the powerful braces and shoots. I wish there was more Electro probably and less Shocker, but he's cool enough, and so I'm going to put him around Electro and maybe a little bit below. Shockwave. Shockwave is Transformers. He is a little different than the other Decepticons because he stayed on Cybertron. So when the other Decepticons left, he was the one left in charge of Cybertron. Very unique look. Also turns into a gun, but more of a laser gun than Megatron. And I have him as awesome. I thought Shockwave was a really cool character, had a really good voice. I'm going to have him up in the top tier of the awesome. And again, some of these may shift up as we calibrate here in a bit. We're almost there. All right, Shriek is from Batman Beyond. Memorable character for that show was a guy who had knew how to do audio acoustics and made his hands these like audio pedals that make you lose your mind. He's cool enough. Like, I wouldn't say he's like this amazing character, but he's memorable, and more memorable to me than some of these other guys. So I'm going to put him for now, like right around Krang. Sideshow Bob. Sideshow Bob is in The Simpsons. Again, not a huge Simpsons fan. I was not a Sideshow Bob fan either. He was too violent for me. I mean, like, too scary. He was murderous, right? Trying to kill Bart. Back then, that's what cartoons were like. But he's a great villain. He was Krusty the Clown's sidekick, Sideshow Bob. So I would have him around Nelson up here in the awesome category, but I'd have Nelson a little bit above him. All right, Silver Banshee. Bit of a throwaway side character again within Justice League, but a really scary looking and had the Banshee call like as her power. So it's memorable. I did enjoy her being on the show. Almost wish she'd have been on a little bit more, but I won't have her as high as some of these others, and we will just say a little below Baron Mordo. Silver Samurai. Silver Samurai was only in maybe 1, 2 episodes of X-Men. Wolverine, when he goes to Japan, Silver Samurai is the villain. He is a cool looking villain, has an awesome sword. I will have him in the Barely Not Awesome section. If they had more of him, he would probably move up, but he just wasn't in it a ton. Let's put him kind of around, for now, like Machine Head. Silvermane. Silvermane is in Spider-Man. Silvermane changes into more of a metal looking dude at some point, but he was trying to get like the Fountain of Youth or use this stone tablet to change, and he ended up turning into a baby, I think. He's not one of my favorite characters. I honestly didn't care about him too much being in the show. Let's just throw him around like right below Executioner. Sinestro. Sinestro's in Justice League. Sinestro was also, and probably a better version, honestly, of him was in Super Friends. But Sinestro is a pretty cool character, was a Green Lantern, then became a Yellow Lantern. Cool enough. I wouldn't put him as like a super great villain. I don't remember him enough, but like he kind of like Kang to me. Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister was an X-Men. Mr. Sinister, I think, again, is one of the best villains, and I'm going to start him out in the Supreme section here. Could move down, could move up, but he is one of the more memorable villains to me in X-Men. Always trying to tinker with genetics and trying to get Cyclops and Jean Grey. Actually did for a while in the Savage Land, has the Nasty Boys. So cool character. All right, the Sirens, just 3 of them together from Samurai Jack. I put them in here because they're the ones who actually kind of beat him and had to be saved, essentially, where you didn't know how it happened, but essentially Jack didn't even remember who he was. They had wiped his mind. Until they were able to get back to the Sirens and figure out what happened, they couldn't do it. But they were mean, like they transformed once they, got there. They're cool enough. I don't think they're like super great or anything, but I'd have them in the cool enough category. And not quite as memorable as some of these, but let's say struggling on like where exactly I want to place this one. Okay, around Guardian makes sense, and I probably like them a little bit more than Guardian, and he's from Samurai Jack. Skeletor. Skeletor's from He-Man. Skeletor has one of the best laughs and voices. Good at plotting, kind of like Cobra Commander. Has schemes. He's a goat, one of the goats, and we'll figure out how all that plays out. Okay, this is Skrull Queen. I think it's like Varanki or something like that, but she's a Skrull Queen from Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which Skrulls were a big part of the plot, and people were not who they thought they were, and she was the one influencing a lot of that. She was cool enough. I mean, I didn't really care for her specifically. The Skrulls were fine, but I'd maybe place her around this section with Radioactive Man. Okay, Slab. Slab is a nasty boy with Mr. Sinister. Was like Hairbag and Ruckus and some of those other folks. Slab was cool enough, I think. like I recognize Slab and I remember him, but he's not like a super special character. He's kind of one of these guys who just fights a little bit. So I'll put him with some of these Earth's Mightiest Heroes guys in that regard. All right, Slash. Slash is in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it's I totally remember the toy more than I remember the character specifically, and they looked different. Like the toy to me looked much more uh, villainous and evil and hardcore, and this one's more like a dumb version of the Turtles. So he is a cool character. I will have him in the barely not awesome section. He was fun, and I do remember him on the show a little bit, but I remember the toy more than I remember him. Let's have him down by. Well, let's have him right above and below Silver Samurai, right above Equinox. Okay, Slithe. Slithe is again one of the mutants from Thundercats, and we had a couple of them already, and he fits in kind of with them if I can figure out where I had them. I thought they were a little farther up. There they are. They moved over. So Slithe is kind of the leader, and I think he's one of the cooler ones. He's pretty mean and pretty smart compared to the other ones, I think. Could be wrong about that. He might be an idiot. Okay, Smythe. Smythe is Spider-Man. Smythe did not always look like this. His dad was a scientist, and then he took the reins thinking his dad was killed, and then he mutated himself to look like that, where he shoots laser beams out of the side. Smythe is fine. He's not anything I cared to see necessarily on the show, so I'll just put him toward the top of the didn't really care about too much. It's like there's a lot of other good Spider-Man villains that I didn't need to see him too much. And then we have Snake. Snake is from The Simpsons. Snake is I don't remember a ton about him other than his voice, and I don't remember the bad things he did, and he actually seems like more of a reclamation project, right, where they sympathize with him at times or something. I might again be wrong about that, but he's kind of like the bullies to me, but I remember him right after Jimbo, so I'm going to put him between in that section. So cool enough, good part of the show story. Snowball. Snowball is from Pinky and the Brain, and he is the Brain, which you could consider the Brain a villain. He's trying to take over the world, but he is the protagonist of the show. So Snowball is the competing genius hamster trying to outdo the Brain. And he was a fun enough character. I put him in the kind of top section, maybe around Mad Hatter of the cool enough section. All right, Spiral. Spiral is with Mojo in Mojo World, and she has metal arms, or a couple of real arms and a couple of metal arms or something, and then has the power to teleport. And I thought she was really cool. She was cooler to me than Mojo. Hopefully, I reflect that in the rankings. I enjoyed watching her more, for example, than Sauron or some of these folks. Maybe right around there with the Lunatics and the mutants. But yeah, so she was a cool character. Spot. Spot's an interesting one. He was on Spider-Man, and he had a much bigger role to play in Spider-Man than I remembered by far. He creates these portals, and they create ways to transport and teleport around the city. He actually created the problem and what caused Spider-Man to lose Mary Jane, and Green Goblin fell in or something like that. So pretty important character, but the Spot himself was just cool enough. I mean, he was fine, but I don't remember too much else about him. He's kind of like Mirror Master to me, so I'll have those two together. Okay, this is Stalker. Stalker is a Craven the Hunter like dude from Batman Beyond. He was a cool character, a little again like Craven, but still they did a good job with it, and he was individual enough. But I'll just keep him in the kind of cool enough category, up by Shriek, and Shriek's probably a little cooler than that. All right, we have, I'm going to get the name wrong. This is Stardust. So Stardust is another one of those Galactus Heralds from the other video. We had Fire Lord, Airwalker. This is the water one that was attacking at the time. And it's just a kind of didn't really care about if you had somebody else kind of deal. It's probably fine. So honestly, thought they were a little cooler than Fire Lord and maybe not as cool as Airwalker. So right there. Starro. Starro is always a fun one because it's just a giant starfish looking thing that gets on people's faces and takes over their personality. And on Justice League, it did that at least once that I recall. And Starro's cool enough. I like those episodes. They're a little bit different, but not something I'm like, oh, I want to see that all the time. I'd probably have Starro just above Ventriloquist. Star Sapphire. Star Sapphire, a Green Lantern villain, Justice League. It's a good thing we're here because it's probably right about in this section. I do like her a little bit more than Madam Viper, I believe. So cool enough. And then Steelbeak. So Steelbeak is Darkwing Duck. And Steelbeak is somebody I vaguely remember, but not enough. The episodes I do remember, I liked him, so I'm going to say it's barely not awesome, and he's kind of like Liquidator here in this section. So I'm going to throw him right there. Then we have Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf is Justice League Darkseid's brother, I think, and was in the Justice League movie, I think. Didn't really care about him too much. He's fine. But he's just kind of like, okay, he's kind of like Hades to me. And maybe I like him a little bit more than Hades. But it's about right. Stompa, this is the last of the ones that I have in here that are the female Furies, Darkseid's minions that roll up to Granny Goodness. Stompa was, I'm going to have her at the bottom of the cool enough category, kind of around there. Big, burly, strong, knock people out kind of deal. She was pretty powerful for the Furies, so have her there. All right, this is Storm Shadow, I believe. I always get these mixed up because you have Snake Eyes, who's the G.I. Joe version that's black, and then that wears black, and then this one is white, and this is Storm Shadow. Storm Shadow is awesome, but when I watched G.I. Joe again, he wasn't in the show nearly as much as I thought I remembered. Now they have a ton of characters, so that's probably why. But it prevents me from putting him like in the Supreme section for sure. He is awesome. He's a great side character. Probably have him just around these guys here. Okay, then we have what's this? Style Baiter. He's a DJ and Samurai Jack, and so he like pumps all this music and hypnotizes kids, and the kids turn evil. And Jack has to fight him, and he turns into this like giant robot kind of dude. He wasn't my favorite. It was a fine enough episode and fun, but it's like I could have done without it. It didn't really add up to the end plot for me. I'd probably put him, let's say, above some of these guys and above some of those guys, but below Captain Pollution. Seems like a good spot. All right, now we have Stracco. Dinosaurs, as you can tell. Got the it's not a Triceratops. I don't know what. I'm sure it's like a Styracosaurus or something that I don't know. But he was one I didn't really care about as much as the others. So I know I had like the Plesio guy and Ankylo before that were a little bit higher up here somewhere. But I didn't really care about this one that much. Cool enough looking, but I don't remember his personality. So I'm going to have him around Hairbag here. And Hairbag I probably like a little bit more. Okay, Supreme Intelligence. Supreme Intelligence pops up every now and then just on a TV screen in X-Men and other shows, but he was in uh, Earth's Mightiest Heroes as well. Toward the bottom of the cool enough category for me. He doesn't do anything specifically himself, but kind of leads things. He's more interesting than some of these characters to me, but I'll have him like right below Parasite or Molecular, right in there. All right, Super Skrull. Super Skrull, Fantastic Four villain, often was in Earth's Mightiest Heroes as well. Skrull invasion. Uh, Usually gets Fantastic Four's powers, so he can do all of them. He's a cool enough character that I don't recall being in it enough, and kind of like the leader, and I will have him just above the leader. All right, Surtur. Surtur is mostly recognized from being in Thor Ragnarok, the movie. Uh, he was cool enough in the show, but I don't remember him enough in Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Like I remember that he was in it enough, so he fits in a little of that category, like Supreme Intelligence, and I like him a little bit more than Supreme Intelligence. All right, Tala. Tala was in Justice League, and she exceeded my expectations. She's that, that thing I like, which is like the female witch, reliable and probably saner version of the main villain. Tala, I will have in this barely not awesome category, and let's put her just below Doomsday. And then we have Talzin. So this is like Mother Talzin from Clone Wars, and this is where where Asajj Ventress came from. She's more evil. Talzin is more evil inherently in the show, and I will say that she was cool enough. Like I didn't remember a ton about her character. Let's put her like right below Faust here. But she was the whole planet and everything was cool. Like the whole plot was cool, but her individually, I just am putting her a little lower. Okay, then we have this is Tambourine, I think. So Tambourine was the most vicious of the aside from King Piccolo, I think was the most vicious of the brothers or whatever you call them within Dragon Ball, and I liked him a lot. He was cruel and mean, and I'd probably put him like above, let's say above Hit for now. Tao Pai Pai. Tao Pai Pai was in Dragon Ball, and he was in the tournament, and I think he came back as a robot as well. This dude was really cool. Like for the leveling of guys getting stronger, he for a while was like incredibly strong, comparatively, and almost impossible to defeat. And I thought he was just a very intimidating and cool character. I'm going to put him in the awesome category. And he could be one that I move around once I think about, but I'd have him like right above Pilaf. All right. Taskmaster. Taskmaster's a cool character, knows how to mimic, I think, all the moves of other people once he studies them. I don't remember him too much, though, within Earth's Mightiest Heroes, so I'm going to put him a little lower. Kind of in this, like, Ronin area, so right around Ronin. Okay, this is Taurus. Taurus Bull, maybe. Taurus, I think, was Darkwing Duck. And I just remember as being like what you see in the picture, the arrogant businessman, but I don't remember him standing out too much more than that. There were other Darkwing Duck characters like I had above that I remembered a bit more. So I'm going to have a little bit lower. A little more memorable than some of these guys. Let's have him right below like Madam Viper there. All right, Taz, Looney Tunes, good old Tasmanian devil destroying stuff. Taz I will have in the awesome section. It's tough because him just as like a mean, devil beating Bugs Bunny up is pretty good, but he gets a lot more character when he becomes part of the crew and everything, which isn't really what we're rating on here. So he is awesome though as a foil. I like Taz more than I like the others, even. So I will put him above the other Looney Tunes. All right, this is Tempestra from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Creepy lady, again, with kind of magical eyes and power, but I don't remember her as much. I do remember her as being in the like episode with some of the others that I had mentioned before, Chrome Dome, and some of them attacking the city or whatever at the same time. She might have had a bigger role, but I'm just going to throw her in with that group because I can't remember anything more. Terminal. Terminal is a Batman Beyond villain, and he is pretty cool. Being hardcore, like quiet, understated, and just doing what he needs to do, which I think is pretty cool. And so I'm going to have him in the barely not awesome category, just maybe above Mama. Terex. Terex is actually the fourth Earth's Mightiest Hero, Herald of Galactus, along with the others. But Terex has more personality. He moves the ground, but he talks and does other stuff to wreak more havoc. So I've got him a little bit higher than some of the others. He's in the cool enough category, and I'd have him probably up towards Ruckus, a little below. Okay, we've got the Terrible Trio. Put them together. That is Batman. They are rich, spoiled, entitled people that have specific skills. So like the Fox is land, shark, water, vulture, air. They're military trained or something like that. But they were fun enough. It was kind of a fun little episode. Cool enough is what I would call it. And a little more fun than some of these others. So I will put them... I like them more than Orm. So I'll say that. All right, this is the Terror. The Terror is a tick villain. He is very old. He's been around since like World War II. Still, like, he's very stubborn that he's still capable of causing havoc, and he does, to his credit. So the Terror is pretty cool, and I'm going to have him in the barely not awesome category because he's. I appreciate the character and his humor in the show. And he does cause problems. So I'm going to have him just around Dinosaur Neil, but a little above him. All right, these are the Daughters of Aku. So this is Samurai Jack. They're very important characters toward the end of Samurai Jack as they are bred to kill him. 7 sisters, I think it was. This picture doesn't have them all. But important because it's where Jack, 1, is really getting his butt kicked, but 2 was the first time he actually killed somebody that you know in the show. So he didn't realize they weren't like robots and was like, oh gosh, and then has to deal with it. But then another part of it is that there's a complex relationship he has with one of them who survives. So cool characters, and intimidating and fun, like artistically in the show. I'd have him around where I had Shinobi, and where was that? I thought I had it around here. Gets tough when they shift over and you think you eyed out where they are. Oh, they're there. So Shinobi is there. So I'd have him in awesome, probably toward the top of that group. Okay, another Samurai Jack character, the gentleman who is a bounty hunter, just a very gentleman, Southern gentleman kind of guy, and does his job respectfully, type dude. And he's a cool take on a character. I do like him. I wish he was in the show a little bit more. I'll have him down by Mamet. Okay, and another Samurai Jack. This looks like the Daughters of Aku, but this is the High Priestess. So this is the person who bred the Daughters of Aku and trained them, and was kind of the queen mother of them. I didn't like her character quite as much as the others. She wasn't on the screen as much, but I would have her in this barely not awesome category, maybe just below or ahead of the demonic monster from Samurai Jack. All right, Great Fusili. I can't remember. I think it's the Great Fusili. That's why he's down in the T's. So the Great Fusili was like a puppeteer on Courage the Cowardly Dog. He was cool enough. It wasn't like one of my favorite episodes, but I'd have him kind of by the puddle of the water lady. He had a good voice and was creepy. Did his job, but that's where I'd have him. Then we have, oh God, I can't even pronounce this. On the Tick, and it's Thrak Korzog. Just a monster that came from outer space or whatever and started attacking, maybe another dimension. I can't remember. He wasn't one of my favorite Tick characters. I don't remember the episode all that much, so I'd say I don't really care about him too much. Kind of like the Breadmaster, so I'm going to put him right below the Breadmaster. Thrasher. Thrasher is, I think, part of the Dreadnoks on G.I. Joe. Has crazy hair, drives vehicles is maybe his differentiator. But I don't remember too much about him otherwise. He was one I was like, if he's on, he's on. If he's not, that's fine. So I'd have him maybe just, I do like him a little better than like maybe Callisto. So I'll put him there. All right, Thrawn. Thrawn is from Rebels, and Thrawn is evil and awful and the main antagonist. And I would have him in the awesome category, kind of like a Lex Luthor-ish, Destro-ish type person up here. And then we have, this is Thunderball, the last of the Wrecking, no, not the last, because we still have the Wrecker. The Wrecking Crew, though. So Thunderball was fine. And I don't remember exactly where the rest of them were, but he's similar to those gentlemen. There they are. And I like him probably the most because he's got the giant ball and swings it around. Wrecking Ball. All right, Tien. Tien is in Dragon Ball. Tien becomes a good guy, but Tien originally is the strong villain from, I think it's like the Crane School or some other school he was in. And he is a very powerful villain. So he is cool and cool enough to be in the Barely Not Awesome category for me. Trying not to account for any of his doings as a hero. But I'd have him above like Android 19. Oh, and I was looking for him earlier. Buzzer. All right, Time Stopper. Time Stopper is in Silverhawks. I think Time Stopper, I don't remember much, but I also don't remember liking him. Like it was like, oh, okay, Time Stopper. So I'm going to put him in the kind of trash section. And then we have Toad. Toad was only in X-Men a little bit. He was actually in like X-Men Evolution much more, and I forgot that. But Toad in X-Men really had a small part to play and was just part of a town that was taken over and played a small part. So he doesn't really have a whole lot to do. I would just have him in the didn't really care about it. Probably wouldn't have even included him if I would have thought about it. But probably around the blockbuster section there. All right. This is Tomax and Zaymot. They're twins. One has a scar. The other does not. They are G.I. Joe. They're very athletic. They always finish each other's sentences. And rewatching G.I. Joe, they're one of my favorites on the show. They're in the awesome category for me. They are effective fighters. Probably have them a little above Destro. But they're also really quirky and funny and like business people. They'll be in like a meeting or something with everybody. Okay, Tombstone. Tombstone is in Spider-Man. Tombstone was just okay. I mean, he's kind of cool enough for me. Not somebody I'm sitting there going to say, oh, I have to see a Tombstone episode. But he is, when he is in it, it's like, oh, okay, he's a good side character. Let's throw him a little above Grey Gargoyle. He's kind of like Hammerhead to me. I'll put him just one above Hammerhead. All right, we have another Berserker, and this is Top Spinner. So Top Spinner, again, I didn't really care for the Berserkers that much, but this guy spun around, and he's my favorite of them. I remember the toy wanting to get the toy and hoping it spun well. I don't remember how it even worked. I think you pushed on his head or something. But yeah, so still not anybody I really cared about in Thundercats. Okay, this is, and I don't have his name, but I think it's Torch. I think Torch is another one of the Dreadnoks. And Torch I liked a little bit more and remember Torch a bit more. So I'm going to have him up by Buzzer, but just below Buzzer. All right, Toyman. Toyman is in a lot of shows, but in different iterations and different ways. And this is the Justice League version where he is actually looks like a doll, which I think is probably his better version, a cooler looking version. So Toyman was cool enough. I enjoyed him in the show. Probably enough to say like above Purple Man for now. All right, Triclops. Triclops was in He-Man. Triclops feel like was the butt of some jokes. I don't really remember if I just had him in my head, but I also think the reason he's called Triclops, he's got 3 eyes on his head and they spin like it's different personalities, like he's frowning or he's whatever. I don't remember. He's cool enough. Like I don't remember enough about Triclops to be like, oh man, he was a really cool villain, because a lot of those He-Man villains were kind of corny sometimes. So Triclops to me would be maybe around. He's more important than some of these, but I'll say kind of up by Ruckus. Might be fine by Red Eye. All right, Tugmug. Tugmug is the Lunatax again. Tugmug is a short, stout thing that bounces around, I think, if I recall correctly. And so I've got him also in this group with these 2 Lunatax. He's a little higher, where he's just below the other 2. But yeah, I remember Tugmug. He had a bit of a personality about him, and honestly, I could probably argue myself to get Red Eye back up there with them. But they were a fun group to watch. Two-Face in Batman. Two-Face was a cool villain in Batman, the show. I thought that was the definitive version of him as well. And I'd have him in the awesome category. Let's just say right above Bizarro for now. All right, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. We got Ultra Humanite, giant-brained, smart, ape-like thing, who was barely not awesome to me. He was cool enough. He's in Justice League Unlimited, and he's like Grodd a little bit, so I'm going to put him right next to Grodd. All right, Vanderchill, the Ice Queen from Darkwing Duck lady. She's one that I didn't like very much for some reason, so I'll just throw her in the trash bin with some of these kind of ice villains. I don't remember what it was that turned me off on her, but it just was something I don't really remember liking. Okay, Vapor from Earth's Mightiest Heroes, I think. So you had Vapor and then X-Ray and I think I'm Vector or something like that. These weren't in there very much, and I don't know if I should have even included them. They were, to me, so Vapor was one. It was like I really didn't care about too much. Some of these were even better. So like, yeah, maybe around there. And then Vector was a little cooler, so I'm going to put him a little higher. You can't see him very well, but he kind of changes, I don't know, cosmically or whatever. He had kind of some weird powers. And I think he's more around there. And then we'll have X-Ray. Well, we can go ahead and do X-Ray. X-Ray's right there. I'll just pull him up there with him because X-Ray I thought looked a little cooler. He's got that like skeleton. But that's that. And then so we have Vegeta. This is Vegeta before Vegeta turns somewhat good. He is pretty darn evil, pretty darn mean, and he's actually great as a villain. So he's up by Frieza and King Piccolo in that regard. We'll figure out how that all plays out here in a minute. Then we have Venom. Venom from Spider-Man. Venom was also one of the awesome Spider-Man villains. it's tricky trying to remember personalities and stuff and like what they actually did in the show. Uh, but I loved his style and how he looked. Let's just put him right around Sabretooth. Okay, Verminous Scum, Captain Planet. Again, these guys had their own little group that I know fought Captain Planet together at times. Struggle to differentiate what they each did separately. So he's kind of in this Duke Nukem, August Greedley, but I'd have him a little below both of them. Okay, and then Vertigo. Vertigo was in the Savage Lands. Creates Vertigo for the folks. She didn't have like a huge part to play, but was cool enough in the show. And I would probably put her. Let's say right above Star Sapphire for now. Right, Ruben Wunderbar is from Darkseid's world in Justice League. Dresses like a German World War I German chancellor, commander, whatever you want to call it. Strategy tactician in that way. He's cool enough. Like he was a cool, different type of character, a little like the Furies. I probably have. Well, let's just put him in between Lashina and Matt Harriet. Volcana, Superman villain, fire type villain, was cool enough as well. Kind of like Giganta, and she probably had a little bit more personality, so I'll put her right up there. Okay, we have Vulture Man. So Vulture Man is like the mutants from Thundercats. Vulture Man I liked, but probably the least of the mutants. They are pretty close though. All of them had a cool personality and interacted well. All right, Vulture in Spider-Man. Vulture was okay. I'd have him as cool enough. A little bit like, see who else we have here. I liked him. I mean, he had more influence in the plot than some of these guys, maybe around Mastermind. And I think I have talked myself into moving Red Eye up because now that I think about the Lunatics, I remember him a little bit more. And I'll have him right below Tugmug. Okay, now we are down to, this is Waspinator. He is a Beast Wars villain, Predacons or whatever they were. And he was cool enough. He had a cool voice, and he was annoying and cruel and mean at times. I will have him. He's a little more memorable than some of these guys. Let's put him right between the Idea Man and Dr. Mental. Okay, Weather Wizard. Weather Wizard is often I think a Flash villain or something from Justice League, and Weather Wizard is in this cool enough category, kind of like some of these guys. Had a bit more personality than some of these. And you know what? We're going to put him like right above Ronan because he's got glasses like the other guy. They kind of look close. All right, Whiplash. Whiplash is, there's like a Blacklash and a Whiplash, and I think Whiplash is the female version sometimes, but has the giant cords that they whip around that are like electrocuting people. So Whiplash was a similar story to some of these others. I think I like the Serpent Society more than her Abomination a little bit more, so I'll put her right there. Whirlwind. Whirlwind was also on Earth's Mightiest Heroes, but Whirlwind, I think, was a little bit more a cooler character than some of these. So I'm going to move him up to Barely Not Awesome. He fought Annihilus, from what I recall, and I'm actually going to give him credit and put him above when and I think he might have died. But yeah, he had cool powers in this with little blades and stuff he shot, and he spun around. He's always kind of a cool character to me. All right, Wile E. Coyote. uh, you know, some people are like, oh, he's not a villain. It's like, he tried to kill the Roadrunner. So yeah, I think he is. But Wile E. Coyote is awesome. He is really funny. The episodes are always funny. Going to Acme and getting his stuff all the time. He's probably my favorite Looney Tune villain so far. So we'll put him above Taz. All right, this guy is Willie. Willie is in Batman Beyond, and Willie has some kind of ability to control a machine that's like Gollum or this giant thing. And he is a pretty cool character. Like, he looks like just a nerd and kind of bland, but he was a little more complex than that, kind of like Ace, and I will have him just below Ace. All right, we have Dr. Wily from Mega Man. So we all know Dr. Wily from the Mega Man games, but this is Dr. Wily from the cartoon. He had what you would hope his voice to be, was what it was in the cartoon. I have him as awesome. I think he was a good villain in the show, beyond just being a good villain in the games. So for now, I'll have him right around Dr. Doom. All right, this is what Windhammer. Windhammer on Thundercats was cool enough. One of the villains I do remember, but wasn't like somebody I'd like remember anything he really did. So I will, let's see, Windhammer. It's a little cooler than some of these guys. I'm right after Terrax here. All right, I think this is Wingnut. Yeah, toy, had the toy. Wingnut was in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't remember him being in the cartoon all that much, and honestly, when he was, I really didn't care about it. Similar to some of these others down here, I do think he's a little cooler looking than those two, Tempestra and High Tech, so we will put him there. All right, Woof. Woof is the last of the Jokers or whatever in the Batman Beyond series. He's different because he went through some genetic testing thing to become a jackal or whatever this is. I don't think he's all that like intriguing or special, you know, or different than the others too much. So I'm going to have him around Chucko here, maybe a little bit above. This is Wrecker, the Wrecking Crew we'd already had. He is the one with the crowbar, and I don't remember him too much, but we'll kind of lump him in with the others. And I don't think he looks quite as cool, so I'm going to bump him down a little bit. All right, X-49. This is a tricky one because X-49 is Samurai Jack, and the whole episode is from the point of view of X-49. It's a robot that had emotions implanted in it. It shows the challenge, like his whole life, and you're trained to believe that like Samurai Jack's evil, that he's trying to hunt him down, and he's kind of been left for dead or left for scrap, and he's trying to save his dog. His dog got that he found got abducted by a coup, and so he has to go try to kill Samurai Jack. So it's a really interesting episode, really cool, like a noir Blade Runner type episode. So he's a really cool character. I like him a lot. And he's not really, you know, too much of a villain, but I'd have him as more of the awesome category for sure. And he's probably up with these other Samurai Jack characters. We'll figure that out in a little bit. All right, X the Eliminator. X is on Birdman. X was also on Harvey Birdman, and he gets old and fat in that. But in terms of him being on the original show, he's probably barely not awesome. He was kind of a cooler Birdman villain, I thought. Let's put him right above the Gentleman. All right, we're on our last line here. We will have one extra with an accidental MODOK ad. This is Xanatos from Gargoyles. So again, I didn't watch Gargoyles enough, so I cannot put him high enough. Some people might be like, oh, he's a great mastermind, you know, character like some of the others. But I can just put him in the cool enough section. I'll have him around maybe where we had I can't say he's cooler than some of these, though. I don't want to overstate him. I'll have him around the leader for now and might move him a bit. Okay, now we're at Yes Man. So Yes Man is the little snake guy. I think he's on Silverhawks with Monstar. He's the Yes Man, which makes sense. He's fine. He's not like my favorite. I wouldn't watch it for him for any reason. So I'd have him down not toward the bottom. He's probably a little higher than that, but Yes Man. Okay, this is Amir or Ymir or however you pronounce it. He's like an ice giant, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Didn't really care about them as much either. I'll have them around Killer Frost. We've got Yosemite Sam. So Yosemite Sam is with a lot of the other guys, and he is probably my favorite of the Looney Tunes. The rootin' tootin' shooting guy. He's got the great temper and played cards with Bugs and don't cut the card or cut the cards and Bugs chops it and he gets real mad and starts dealing again. All that. So he's a fun character. All right, we have is this Xandar? So Xandar is one of the Dreadnoks. I honestly I don't remember Xandar that much. He's like a brother of him, and he was one that I just like don't care about. So I'm going to put him in the kind of trash section. This is Zarana. So Zarana is the sister, and she is cooler for sure. And I'll have her in the barely not awesome category, maybe toward the bottom. For G.I. Joe as well. And then Zarbon. Zarbon is partners with Dodoria from Dragon Ball Z on Namek. And Zarbon's a little bit cooler, and he is kind of attractive looking to Bulma, so she always like loves him even though he's this huge threat, and then he ends up turning into a giant lizard that's not as attractive. But he is kind of like these Ginyu Force guys. He's a little bit better than them, so I'm going to put him up a little higher. All right, King Zarkon. Zarkon is Lotor's dad. He is also very evil. I will have him up by Lotor. I do like Lotor a little bit more, but they're very evil people, or he is. Okay, Zartan. Zartan from the G.I. Joe series is up toward the top. This is a dude, again, kind of like Major Blood before, where once I watched it again, I'm like, I appreciate this guy a lot more. So I have him up by the Tomax and Zaymot. He changes his appearance. It's like Mission Impossible where he changes how he looks, which is pretty cool. All right, last three. We got Zeke. So Zeke is a bounty hunter on Samurai Jack, and he is the partner of Josephine. They're like a couple that fights and disagrees with each other and then backstab each other all the time. And I'll put them kind of together because they were a pair. All right, Zorak. Zorak from Space Ghost and then Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Zorak is funny in Space Ghost Coast to Coast, but he's pretty mean in Space Ghost, the show. So let's see. I'm trying to remember where I would have put Brak, because he is a little like Brak in that regard. I don't know if I had Brak in it really shouldn't matter because I'll just put him where I need to put him, but thought they might be a little bit similar. Brak would be higher than that. So I will put Zorak in the barely not awesome category. Maybe toward here, but we'll see. We might need to move that around a bit. All right, the last one, because MODOK is a repeat, and I will just move MODOK down here, this version of him. I've got him up at the top, so he's out of the way. But Zax, so Zax, ZZZAX, or whatever, was an Earth's Mightiest Heroes. He's just an electric monster, kind of a guy I didn't really care about, not to end on that sour of a note, but similar to these heralds and stuff, he's kind of forgettable, so I'll just put him there. So that gets us to our final grouping here. I will move them around a little bit Try not to take too much time to do so. They won't be perfect. I'll try to be more perfect as I get toward the awesomes and goats and supremes, but toward the bottom I won't really focus too much. So again, MODOK is you can't just like delete him. At least I don't know how to move it. So he'll be up there. But yeah, these She-Ra villains are probably toward the bottom. Um, Goldface I'd rather see than those two. Chameleon's better than some of these, so I'm going to move Chameleon up. And then let's see here. So Rat Boy, Piano, Rocket Racer. Rocket Racer I'd probably put above a couple of them. And then Time Stopper, and then Piano. I think that's fine for down there. I can't even remember this guy's name from She-Ra now. He's just kind of the grumpy one that I really didn't care about. I'd move him below Chameleon and there if I'm being fair. Probably be below Piano there. Okay, and this is fine. Probably move Pizzazz down a little bit. Big Wheel, go down a little bit. And Big Wheel, let's be honest, Big Wheel's down here. Big Wheel and Rocket Racer were together, so it makes sense. Some of these guys I struggle to remember what their names are, but yeah, I'd rather see that. Vapor, Mordred. Okay, it's all fine. All fine. Hydro Man, I'd probably see over Dottie, and then let's see. Okay, Bonk. Let's move Bonk down a little bit. He didn't have as much to do as some of these others. Toad, that's fine. I don't remember Bloodsport doing a whole lot, so I'm going to move him down below Hydro Man. I really just didn't like Creed much, so I'm going to move him down a little bit. Chemistro, now that I think about it, I'm going to put above Toad. And then Chuckle I actually like more than Woof, now that I think about it. All right. Then we have fine. I don't remember Ammonia very much, but just thinking about it, I'd probably move her down a good bit. So these guys are kind of generic. Let's have her up there. That's fine. Okay. Lava Man was pretty funny. But again, the plot and the tick are usually what makes it funny, not so much him. All right. Baron von Strucker is a little more interesting than Wymere. Wymere, I'm going to pull down a bit. Killer Frost's fine. Okay. The Blizzard was a little generic. I'm going to move him right above those. And then we've got Destroyer, fine. Firefly, Kronos, Evil Star. Evil Star is probably a little less than Firefly. Callisto, fine. Living Laser was kind of cool, so I'm fine there. High Evolutionary. Berserkers are fine. I mean, I enjoyed the Berserker episodes, but do I think they're like the best villains individually? Not really. Okay, Cats. Black Tom, that's fine. Shrewd, Talico, Hammerhead, Red Claw, fine. Okay. Again, one thing with Captain Pollution, I still wish I remembered if they like used pollution, if they used pollution rings to make him, it would be better, like oil spill, or something like that. But I don't remember. Um, okay, I probably pull. I think this was what Colonel Silver. Let's pull him down a little bit. He'd be lower than Drum to me. Doc Seismic was fine. He was kind of funny. Silvermane. Okay. Let's move. It's a Sirakos or whatever that was. He actually needs to go down a little farther. Let's put him right after Breadmaster. Okay, Hairbag had that like Jamaican accent. That's all I remember about him. And he did like a little somersault attack. So I don't even know if, he's probably not as good as Man-Ape from what I recall. Man-Wolf, Eric the Red, Ghoul. Okay, Eric the Red's probably better than Ghoul. Eric the Red's probably better than some of these guys, a couple of these guys. Okay, Mad Thinker, Hiko Strange, fine. Goldo, I liked him more than a few of these. So we're just hopping him forward. Hopping him forward. Okay. Ottoman Empress, I probably liked more than Sedusa. Maybe less than Hades. Okay. Smythe, fine. Okay, Stampa. Okay, Stampa I didn't really care about that much, and Smythe I like a little bit better. Okay, the Rowdy Rough Boys, fine. Princess, fine. This is the Paddywhack, Merman. Okay, fine. Yeah. All right, these guys I might have to adjust a little bit because I like Hammerhead and Tombstone more than this. Let's just get them above the Simpsons boys. See where we go from there. Games Master. I like Games Master more than Fitzroy, and yeah, that's fine. So Kearney, Jimbo, Hammerhead. I can move the pig guy down a little bit. He wasn't a huge part of it, and he's probably a little less than Parasite. General Trag, I wouldn't have above those guys. And then okay, I think they're more up here. More up here than anything. All right, so back to it. Let's see, these fine Samurai Jack, people, Ken, Earth Mover. Okay, we have the GoBots folks. That's fine. Colonel Yellow. Whiplash is a little bit lower. Didn't really care about her too much compared to some of these. Probably below Parasite. Actually, I like the pig guy too. All right. Okay, Serpent Society is pretty good, I think. Slab. Yeah, that's fine. I think I've got these guys actually above Korvac. And then Okay. Crimson Dynamo was a little bit better than some of these guys. Now that I remember, I think he had a little bit more plot presence than I recall. Now that I think about it, it's got a different look in that show, which makes it a little confusing. Okay, Ronin, Weather Wizard. All right, I'd move him below Hammerhead and Tombstone as well. So Malkith. Oh, whoops, I'm here. Guardians, Sirens. All right, Sirens, I'm going to move down a little bit to one level, and then right below them as well. So Hammerhead and Tombstone, the big winners of where I misplaced them so far. All right, I did find these guys a little bit more intriguing. I did this. I did this because they were wearing the same glasses, but I actually like the Sirens more than I like them. Melodia, I probably have a little high. Pretty high because I think she is more down here by like Crusher to me. And then Ankleo is fine. Okay, Mad Stan I think's lower. Probably below Abomination. Okay, then we've got, now we're making progress slowly but surely. This is probably the biggest section. So the Tick is pretty funny. This is big time. Big time needs to come down a little bit to right below maybe the Sirens. And then Malkith is around there as well. Right, the Tick, and then okay, so Mumbo Jumbo, I don't remember enough about to be like, yeah, he needs to be above some of these people. So let's have him right there as well. Okay, Spot is not as cool as those guys either, but better than Malkith. And then Mirror Master is I like his episodes. I remember that. I'm gonna have him above Taskmaster, but below Crimson Dynamo. Okay. Yep. Some of these superhero ones are tricky because I don't remember how much they were in the shows as much. Okay, Morgan Le Fay, I do remember, and I do like her. Dodoria might move up because he has a little bit more of an influence. Mental was funny. Waspinator is fine. Give money or bomb dam Flood City. Gotta love the idea, man. I'd have them above Calendar Girl, who I will move down to below Morgan Le Fay. Roxy, similar thing. And then Baby Doll is going to move down. I was a little more sympathetic to her to start than I will be now. Let's have her down here. And then get back to where it was. Okay, Babyface, similar thing, was too high. Would be a little lower. Funny character though. I mean, was solid. Let's have him around big time. A little bit higher than big time. Okay. Rotaro's fine. Let's move. He wasn't in it as enough, King Lizard, for me to give him that much credit. Let's move him down here. Okay, Elmira, Roger. Roger, I don't know enough, so I'm going to move him down a bit. Oops. Nope. Go back. Did that mess up? Like, am I not going to be able to? No, there we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Accidental click because I couldn't make up my mind. Okay. I don't even remember where we were or where he had it. because I had somebody and I tried to move them. Oh well, we'll just figure out where we were. All right, Elmira's fine. Montana Max is fine. DD Twins, fine. Shadow Thief, fine. Ink, fine. Grim Reaper. He's pretty cool. Like, he had some cool moments. I'd have him above maybe Orm here, so I'm going to move that from Wunderbar, Lashina. All right. Trio was interesting. Electro, man, I just don't remember enough. I don't feel like he was in the show a ton, but I could be wrong. Because he's a character I like, but I don't remember him being in the cartoon too much. Okay, Major Metallo. Let's move Black Widow down a little bit. I didn't experience her enough to really call her a great villain. Let's put her above Ratara, though. And then, same with Vranky. She's a little lower to me. Calendar Girl-ish. Okay, that's fine. And then some of these guys, like Deadshot, it needs to be lower. I didn't have a whole lot going on with him, or don't remember a whole lot going on with him. I'm going to have him around Taskmaster. It's close to where he needs to be. All right. Won't be too picky on the cool enoughs. Bane. Oh, no, sorry. Colonel White. Violet. Okay. I'd have Buzzsaw over Mandrill. I'm thinking, so like, I need to separate these two a little bit because I think I like Tombstone more than a lot of this. And Tombstone, to me, is more up here. Hammerhead, I didn't like as much. So don't want to keep them locked together when they don't need to be. Buzzsaw, fine. Avalanche, fine. Avalanche was just, if he had more to do, it would have been probably better. All right. This is General or Colonel Blue. Is it Blue? I always get these mixed up. That's fine. Angstrom, cool character. Dr. Destiny is a weird character, but I can drop him down a little bit to like Grim Reaper status. Ventriloquist is Scarface. Get a little credit for being different and original. Starro, I'm going to move down just a bit, but is still a fun character. Have him down by the Bull Taurus. Okay. Conde, Mr. Frundles, Alcide, Moltar, Ghost. Okay, most of this seems good. I've said it before, but Kang, I just cannot remember enough about Kang in that show. And it could be, again, like he was a whole season, and I just don't remember. I need to go back and watch it. Sinestro, okay. Yeah, he's cool. Cool characters, Doctor. Okay, I'll move Frost down. Frost can go pretty far down, just to take on a different take on Frieza. Let's put him right below Dodori here. So going back up. Okay, Terrax would be above Triclops and Vertigo and Vulture. Fine. Okay. Fine. Amok, I will move down just a bit. And then Goku Black. Fine. Sarvan, Leader, Skrull. Leader's probably a little bit cooler than Skrull. With his attitude and plans, I remember him a little bit more. Plunder, Beast King, Boris. Man Beast. Mojo, Fusili. Probably like Proteus a little bit more than Prowler. I don't remember Prowler too much from the show, other than, I mean, he's on like the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse shows, but I don't think I'm mixing those up. And then, okay. Man Bat Mad Hatter. Okay, so I just don't, I can't, Demona, I can't remember her enough that I would move her above those. So I'm going to leave it there. All right. Zarana, Shaw. Like, I like these guys more than I like Sebastian Shaw, just in the show. Okay. I like Nappa more than I like Loki and Enchantress and these guys. So I'm going to move him up a bit. Okay. Barely Not Awesomes. There's going to be a good bit of these, and then it'll be smooth sailing until we get to the goats. Orbeus, Zola. Probably have Zola over Nimbus. There's MODOK. Neil. I liked MODOK a good bit. I'm going to move him up a little bit. I liked Leatherneck, or Leather, yeah, it was Leatherneck. I'm moving above him. Okay, there's Zorak. Zorak might need to move. Boogeyman I'd have above Mumut. And the Gentleman and X. Then Tala. Not bad. I did a pretty good job on this section for me. Okay, Carnage was a little cooler than I'm giving credit for, now that I remember. Despero, I'm going to move down a bit. He was cool, but it was like a one episode thing. Maybe a couple. Okay, I'd move Equinox below Carnage. Slash below Carnage. Okay, Silver Samurai, Machine Head, Proto Man, Piccolo, just mean Piccolo again. Not the nice one. Foot Soldiers, Android 19, Tien. I like Tien more than Captain Ginyu, even as a villain. Okay, Torch, Buzzer, Beerus, Clock King. Clock King I can move down just a little bit. I'll move Clock King. Right above Machine Head, if I can figure out how to do it. All right. Okay, I need to move Willie down. Willie is more like a Desaad to me. Ace, move down a little bit, is more let's have Ace by Battle Beast. All right. Okay, so we have Beerus, we have Eichthorn, Quackerjack, King Koopa. I'd have Sauron a little lower, just not much, but a little bit. Rhino, similarly, below those two. Hit's a cool character. I like Hit. I like these. Lord Dreg, I'd probably, honestly, I don't remember him enough. I'd move him a little below. Norton was funny. I liked him. Human Ton, Spiral. We got the Lunatacs, fine, and the Mutants. Those all line up. Bastion, I'm kind of overrating with recency bias, I think, from X-Men. He has a good, I mean, it's like well written, I thought, and enjoyable, but I'm going to move him down a little bit. Kind of below Lord Dreg here. And Eve Morning. Yeah. Won't penalize him any more than that. All right, so we got, oh, there's Brack. So Brack and Zorak need to be kind of closer. And I think Brack is, or Zorak's a little bit better than Brack. Okay, we've got Master Mold, Pyro, Imrad, the Sentinels, Megatron, Dooku. The Lizard, I'm going to move down just a bit below the Sentinels. I like the Sentinels a bit more. Scorpion a little bit. I like him more than those, so I'm just going to put him there. Hobgoblin, fine. Big Toe. Ramses, I'm going to move down a bit below the Lunatics. Freaky Fred is kind of around Norton. Is that his name? I can't remember. From Chippendale Rescue Rangers. Right, Doc Gerbil. Doc Gerbil will be around Koopa here. And then we've got Dr. Zolas, which I would have similarly around there. All right. Okay, to lose my place. Big Toe. Big Toe I'd have down here as well. And then Amoeba Boys, funny, but a little below some of these. Maybe by above Rhino as well. It's close, somewhere around there. Right, Mandark. Okay, Dr. Blight, I'll move down a little bit to, let's actually move to separate the Lunatics and the mutants. All right, Ming, I'm going to move down because I just didn't experience him enough. He's going to move down significantly. And let's get him to be right below Carnage and Slash. Genghis Rex moving down a tad. Let's put him above Pyro. Okay. Robotnik, Ganon, Boo. These are all good characters now. Boo, Ganon. Okay, I think it's fine. I'm going to move the Mauler twins down a little bit to right below Dooku. Josephine and Zeke can come down a little bit. They're fun, but these are some really good characters. So I'm going to move them behind Evil Morty here. And I'm going to move King Koopa up a little bit to there. Okay. I like Boo more than I like Red Skull, and Ultra Humanite and Gorilla Grodd and Blob. I'm going to split those up by putting Baron Zemo in the middle. And then Blob, I'm going to move down a little bit. He's a good character, but he doesn't have a ton to do, and he's kind of more like Pyro. So I'm going to move him just below Pyro. Dr. Mindbender is fun enough, but I'm going to move him down a bit as well to below Hobgoblin. Then you got Serpentor, who, again, is fine, but I'm going to put just below Dr. Mindbender. Major Blood is better, but I still like some of these guys more. Let's go down to Ganon and Robotnik. No, let's go down to Ganon. All right, Garen can drop a little bit, and Garen is more of a guy right around. Well, he's got a little more to do than some of these. I'm going to have him down by the lizard. I'm going to have him right above the lizard, actually. All right. Pong Krell, like I said, he pissed me off and is a just mean character. But I'm going to move him down a little bit to these folks. He's kind of like Bastion a little bit, so I'm going to move down Bastion. All right, Mad Bomber, what bombs at midnight? He's hilarious, makes me laugh every time. So I'm going to leave him. All right, Omni Man. A little tricky again. Turns, you question his motives and all that stuff. So it's not so straightforward. But we are going to drop him right where he was. All right, Vandal Savage, similarly right there. Poison Ivy, I will move down just below Omni Man. Riddler's fine. Ra's al Ghul, and Emma Frost, we are going to promote up. And I can actually say I'd probably, let me see what I got here. Okay, I'm going to promote Vandal Savage as well. Very important character on Justice League. He's good. I am going to demote a couple here, though, that I probably had up there. Rat King, I'm going to bring down. Sideshow Bob is going to stay. And then, let's see. Oh, you know what? I just thought of this, like going back and coming back. I think the ones I had to add were taken away because I see like Skeletor is gone, and I know I had to add him, and Frieza were two that I had to add. So I will go back and add those, and then we'll be good. All right. I'm going to move Megavolt down one. I might rethink that, but it's close. And then Negaduck stays, but I'd probably have him above a couple here. So like up to above Lobo and Granny Goodness. And I'd have Granny Goodness over Lobo. Samhain, Solomon Grundy, Dracula, Craven, Evelyn, Darth Maul, Inquisitor, Clayface. Clayface I'd probably drop below these guys here. Chairface I'd drop to be around a little bit better than Evelyn. And Boris. Natasha. Amazo will drop down. He is awesome, but he's kind of just super strong. Now I'll put him in the barely not awesome category as well. I'm going to move him down. Okay, Boris and Natasha, I will drop a little bit. They're classic, but these are all great characters at this point. Beaky, Buzzard, Killer. Try to separate these Looney Tunes and not just make them all the same. I'll have him right there. Elmer Fudd. Right there. Mr. Spacely. Drop a little bit lower to like Negaduck territory. Marvin Martian, I'd have still by Elmer Fudd. Taz. Let's do Taz right above Darth Maul. Wile E. Coyote is above Dick Dastardly, and Yosemite Sam is a little higher as well. Okay. Bizarro, I can drop a little bit, though he's fun. I would have him maybe right here. Two-Face, fine. Luna, fine. I feel like I might be able to drop her a little bit. Let's see here. I almost did the back thing again. Let's have her just above Elmer All right, Psykill from GoBot's not a great show. Again, I'm saying that every time because it's just not. I try to watch it again. Uh, Fun villain though, but not maybe as great as some of these others. So I will have him maybe just above the Grand Inquisitor. Fat Cat, I might have around there. And then Shinobi, not as much personality, so I can drop him a bit, but a really cool character again. I will have him down here. Desdemondo. Let's have him more down here. X49, I think, was his number. We can have about here. Okay. Fine. Okay, I'd have Dr. Doom probably below Bebop and Rocksteady and those folks. Wily, fine. Omega Red. Yeah, that's probably the right order there. A Darkseid, I'm going to actually drop a little bit down to here. I like Mr. Freeze and Brainiac a lot. Okay, that's Android 18, Barry. Let's see, drop. What is that? Something Weaver. I can't even remember the name now. Down here with Luna. And then Mystique, I'm going to drop just a little. Barry. Sawboss. I will drop below Mystique. So I should just move Barry up. Hordak. And then the tricky ones with the Spider-Man villains. As always, they run together a little bit. They're all green, except Venom. Okay, I like Sabretooth more than I like Mysterio. I like Venom more than I like Sabretooth. I like Dr. Octopus more than both of them, and I like Green Goblin more than both of them. So we're going to leave it as it is. All right, Cell is there, and then we've got Harley Quinn, Catwoman. Okay, I'd be good to put those two above Asajj, but she is really good. And they have a little more depth than Hagar, so I'll move Hagar down, and then I'll move Dr. Claw down a little bit. Juggernaut is really cool. Gargamel is great. Mojo Jojo is great. Gargamel's a little bit more original, and I like Juggernaut probably a little bit more. Zartan's great. Thrawn. Thrawn, I will move down just a little bit. I mean, he's a great villain, but I also just like the show. I mean, the show made it a bit. Lex Luthor is very good. I can move Shockwave down just a bit and feel okay about it. Let's go right above like Juggernaut. So we have Zartan. Okay, that Lex Luthor is really good though. This is where it gets tough. We're in the last throws, aside from a couple I need to try to add back. Okay, let's do this. Goats, we didn't have how many we have toward the bottom here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 14. I don't necessarily want that many up there, but we can potentially get a few more. So we will, let's see, I never remember where. Oh, I have to do it through here. So choose files. And then here's the list of all of them. And we've got Frieza. I know we didn't have Frieza, so we're going to add Frieza. I just have to do them like at one at a time, I think. So Frieza's there. I'm going to move Frieza back up toward the top. There. Then I think we had Skeletor that I had to add. It had to be like a file format or something. I don't know. Skeletor. There's Skeletor. So Skeletor up toward the top. And then the one other one that I remember that I could not find and why it popped into my head that they were gone was Nelson from Simpsons. Because I saw Sideshow Bob. And Nelson was next to him and then he wasn't. All right. Nelson. Looks like it might be the JPEGs. The JPEGs are the ones that didn't go the first time. All right. So Nelson, we were around Sideshow Bob, and I'm kind of fine with that. I'd probably have Emma Frost and Rachel go above Sideshow Bob. All right. I think that gets us to kind of our top ones here, and in the end. So Supremes, Frieza is Supreme. You know what? Baroness is a Supreme to me. She's just a great like female version of like villain that a lot of shows followed after. And I could keep going. So I'm going to start from the top down now because I'm going to have to make some tough decisions. I'm going to put Megatron first to start because I love Megatron. He's like my quintessential villain. Skeletor, likely second. Cobra Commander, likely third. Mum-Ra fourth. Apocalypse, and then Magneto is fine. These are just better than the ones below. So I'm like moving folks up where I'm like they're just better than the rest of this category. Vegeta, Lotor. Oh man, Kingpin is really good, but I wouldn't have him in the top. Lex Luthor is kind of there with him. And then, okay, let's just go through it. So I really like Aku. I'll move Cad Bane down a little bit, but he's still supreme to me. I think he's awesome. Mr. Sinister is up there high. Lotor is up there a little higher. Devastator, I can probably argue myself down into the awesome category just because it's a combination robot and stuff. Frieza is going to be way up there. King Piccolo I'd probably have up there. Monstar I can drop down a little bit. And then Vegeta, even as a villain, is right up there with Frieza. Okay, I mean, I'm going to talk myself into it. I really like Lex Luthor as being a supreme villain and a driver of that show, and I'm going to talk myself into Kingpin of doing the same with Spider-Man. Cad Bane, I'm going to drop down to being the head of Awesome. And I would have Kingpin, Lex Luthor Baroness. I'd have him over Mr. Burns. King Piccolo was really evil, but I'm going to drop him a bit. Lotor, Vegeta, Frieza, Aku. Okay, so personal preference thing. Aku to me is one of my favorite villains, so I'm going to move it up. Um, and that's about right. Now I just question in my head, am I lying to myself? Like I look at some of these, I'm like, would I really want that over that? Um, and the answer is, yeah, I'm lying a little bit. So I like Aku more than I like Magneto. Uh, do I like Apocalypse more than Mumra? I don't. Okay, so I think this is it. It's a long road, really long road, and no, I had some things I had to fix in there, but this is it. So Megatron, Skeletor, Cobra Commander, Mumra, Apocalypse, Aku, Magneto are the goats. We've got Mr. Sinister, Frieza, Vegeta, Lotor, Monstar, Kingpin, Lex Luthor, King Piccolo, Mr. Burns, and Baroness up in the Supremes. And then we've got a lot of awesome characters. So there were two, and I didn't mention this, that should be at my top that I didn't have pictures that I had in the original as we were going. So I kept them in the back of my mind. And I don't know if they're a JPEG thing, but we will see if I have them and can add them. Um, one is Starscream, and I don't know that I have Starscream. So we are going to, and I don't know that I have Soundwave. So I think those two got uh, deleted or something from the world. So we're gonna go find them and do them real quick. So Soundwave, Transformers, cartoon maybe. All right, images. I should put cartoon. Let's spell it right. All right, good enough. Save as. Villains, save, and then Starscream. Funny thing was, these were like the first ones that I tried to save, and it didn't save. So obviously, the way that I first started was not right. Okay, so hopefully they're there now. Let's see if we can add them in. Shouldn't take too long. Starscream. Okay, so Starscream is going to be in my Supremes for now, and then Soundwave was the other one. All right. Did I get sound? Well, I'm in my alphabet. Soundwave. Did it not save? This might be the problem. Or did I not save it with the right name? Let's try it again. Maybe try a different picture just in case. All right, Soundwave. You all probably saw me type something different and are like, yeah, dude, you just didn't find it right, which is fine. All right, Soundwave. Please work this time. Thank you. And there he is. All right, Soundwave is also in my Supremes. To talk about them for 2 seconds. So Starscream is the Transformers right-hand man that's always kind of anti-Megatron, tries to foil him and take over, and finally does in the movie, and then gets killed for it. And then Soundwave is the overly loyal, very monotone, turns into a tape deck, cassette tape deck. But they are both really supreme characters for me. So now I am going to try to place them to finish this off where they are for me. So I think I would have Soundwave above Starscream and above these other characters. Would I have them in the GOAT status? It's hard to do because they are not the leader. So I think it's fine. I think I'll have that as the order and leave it at that, especially since we had to spend some time getting the other pictures in. But hopefully that's pretty comprehensive. There might be a few more where you're like, why didn't you find that guy or do that? But again, sometimes the pictures don't load, and when you're doing like 500 and some, it's hard to find them. So that'll be it for this video and for the entire cartoon tier list.